Okay, so you know those times when you're shopping and you're just like completely overwhelmed by the choices,
Mhm.
especially for things you can't really truly know until you've tried them? Like a
Right.
shirt might look great on the hanger, but then what about like the feel or
Mm.
like picking out a new coffee blend or a new face cream? It's like, ugh, decision fatigue.
Yeah. You've just hit on what economists call experience goods,
Okay.
which are those products where evaluation and consumption are kind of intertwined.
Yeah.
Like you simply can't know until you've actually experienced it.
Exactly. And that brings us to like the whole rise of sample boxes, those curated sets that are designed to help you kind of navigate this whole experience good dilemma.
Right.
But it makes you wonder, is this actually a win-win for both shoppers and the businesses that are creating these boxes? Like, what
Yeah.
if you find your perfect product like right away?
Yeah.
Wouldn't the company like lose out on all those purchases that you might have made while you were searching?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's precisely what a 2023 research paper from the Manufacturing and Service Operations Management Journal kind of dives into.
Okay, cool.
And don't worry, we're going to skip all the academic jargon
Please.
and unpack what this means for you in your everyday life.
All right, I'm all ears. So how does this paper kind of break down this problem that these sample boxes are trying to solve?
Well, they call it the sequential search dilemma.
Okay.
So think about it with experience goods. You're often stuck in this cycle of buying and trying
Right.
one product after another, just hoping to find something that truly satisfies you.
So it's not even just about finding something you like. It's about getting to a point where you're happy to stop searching.
Right. There's this idea of a switch point,
Okay.
which is like this mental threshold of value for a product.
Mm-hmm.
If a product hits or exceeds that point,
Yeah.
you're likely to stick with it.
Okay.
But if not, the search continues.
Okay, that makes sense. So
Yeah.
picture this. You're looking for like the perfect pair of headphones. You buy one, try them out, and they're decent. Like, not amazing, but not terrible either.
Mm-hmm.
Do you settle or do you keep searching for that like better sound quality?
That decision hinges on what economists call your discount rate.
Okay.
It boils down to how much you value future enjoyment
Right.
versus immediate gratification.
Got
So
it.
someone with a high discount rate might settle for good enough,
Yeah.
whereas someone with a low discount rate might be willing to keep searching, potentially forever
Oh, wow.
for the absolute best.
I'm starting to see how this applies to like my own shopping habits. Sometimes I'm all about finding like that perfect item no matter how long it takes.
Yeah.
And other times I'm like, okay, this is fine. I'll just settle for something that's okay.
Totally.
But here's what like really surprised me.
What's that?
This idea that sample boxes, while great for helping us find what we like, can actually hurt the companies that are selling them.
It's a fascinating paradox.
Yeah.
The paper calls it the acceleration effect.
Okay.
Sample boxes provide perfect information up front,
Okay.
which essentially eliminates that potentially long and profitable search process.
Or some customers.
Exactly.
So let's say I own a company that makes scented candles.
Okay.
Without a sample box, a customer might buy like 5 different candles before they find their like absolute favorite scent.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5 purchases for me.
Right.
But if they use a sample box, they immediately discover their perfect candle and I only get 1 sale ouch.
Precisely, that potential loss in revenue is a key factor companies have to consider
Yeah.
when deciding whether or not to offer a sample box.
But then wouldn't that discourage companies from offering them altogether?
Right.
Like, what's the incentive for them?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Companies have a clever strategy to counter this acceleration effect.
Okay.
And it all comes down to future credit.
Okay.
So think of those Sephora fragrance samplers that come with a voucher for a full-size perfume.
Yeah, I love those. But I've always wondered, why would a company essentially give away a full-size product for free?
It might seem counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but the research found that offering a future credit equal to 100% of the full product price is often the most profitable strategy.
Wait, seriously? So they're giving away a free product? How does that make them money?
Because it guarantees them at least 2 purchases from you.
Okay.
You buy the sample box,
Yep.
you find your favorite, and then you redeem your credit for the full size.
Oh.
So this cleverly makes up for that potential loss
Oh, wow.
from those customers who would bought multiple products during a longer search.
Okay, that is some seriously strategic thinking.
It is.
So those like seemingly pricey sample boxes might actually be a great deal for shoppers because that future credit essentially makes one product free.
Exactly. But of course, there's more to the story than just future credit.
Mm.
The success of a sample box strategy depends on other factors, too,
Like what?
like the number of variations in the box.
Okay.
A wider variety increases the chances of you finding at least one thing
Okay.
that you like enough to use that credit on.
That makes sense. And I imagine the availability of alternatives outside of the box plays a role too, right? Like
Yeah.
if there's like a whole world of competing products out there, the company really needs to make that sample box experience pretty amazing.
You're right on track. The presence of strong outside options puts pressure on the company to make their sample box stand out and ensure you use that future credit on their product, not someone else's.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, who knew there was so much strategy behind those like little sample boxes?
Yeah.
I'm starting to see them in a whole new light.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
Okay.
There's another intriguing concept this research explores that I think you'll find interesting.
Okay, lay it on me. What else did these researchers uncover?
Well, remember how we talked about the importance of the number of product variations in a sample box?
Yeah.
This paper takes it to an extreme and examines what happens when that number gets incredibly large, like almost infinite.
Infinite variations. Isn't that a little unrealistic? I mean, no sample box can hold unlimited products.
True, it's a theoretical concept, but bear with me because it reveals a really interesting trend.
Okay.
As the number of products in a box increases, the potential profit loss from offering that box actually starts to diminish.
Hold on. I thought we established that sample boxes can hurt companies by accelerating the search process.
Right.
Are you saying that more options lead to less risk for the company? How does that work?
Imagine a sample box with a truly massive selection.
Okay.
With so much variety. The chances of every single product being a dud for a given customer become incredibly slim.
Okay.
They're practically guaranteed to find at least one thing
Yeah.
they like enough to buy the full size.
So that acceleration effect we talked about becomes less of a problem because fewer people are choosing the outside options.
Right.
They're finding something they like within the box itself.
Exactly.
In fact, the research suggests that as the number of product variations approaches infinity, offering a sample box with that smart future credit strategy almost always leads to higher profits for the company compared to not offering one at all.
Okay, that's a pretty compelling argument for diverse sample boxes.
Yeah.
But how does this infinite product idea apply to the real world where, boxes have limits?
It highlights a powerful trend. The more options a sample box offers, the less risk the company takes on.
Okay.
It also underscores the importance of catering to a wide range of preferences,
Right.
even if a customer doesn't love every single sample.
Yeah.
Finding just one they enjoy can be enough to lead to a future purchase.
It makes me think about those subscription boxes that are everywhere these days for makeup, snacks, clothes, you name it.
Right.
A lot of them use that future credit model we discussed.
And that's no coincidence, as this research shows. That model can be incredibly effective
Yeah.
at both attracting customers and maximizing profit. This whole conversation has been a real eye-opener. I feel like I've gained a new appreciation for the strategy behind these seemingly simple boxes.
Yeah.
But we focused a lot on the future credit aspect. Were there any other interesting findings about what makes sample boxes successful?
Actually, yes. Remember when we talked about the size of the sample box being the same as a full-size product? What happens when the samples are smaller? Does that change things?
That's a good question. I imagine smaller samples would cost the company less to produce.
Right.
But would people be willing to pay for a box of tiny samples?
Those are exactly the trade-offs the researchers investigated.
Okay.
And what they found is that smaller sample sizes do allow companies to charge less for the box itself.
Okay.
Think of it like a sliding scale, smaller sample, smaller price.
Intuitively, that makes sense. But does the company still make as much profit overall? I mean, they're getting less revenue from the box itself.
That's where it gets interesting. While a smaller sample size means lower initial revenue, it doesn't actually change the optimal price the company can charge for the full-size product.
Wait, really? So they're making less from the box, but still charging the same for the full-size item?
Yeah.
Doesn't that mean their overall profit takes a hit?
Their analysis showed that shrinking the sample size almost always results in a proportional decrease in the company's overall profit.
Okay, so even though it might seem counterintuitive, there's a real financial incentive for companies to offer full-size sample boxes whenever possible, even if those boxes are more expensive to produce.
Absolutely. It all circles back to that perceived value for the customer.
Yeah.
A full-size sample box not only provides a better user experience, but it also reinforces the feeling of getting a good deal, especially with that future credit in the picture.
This deep dive has been packed with insights. I'm learning so much. What other factors did this research touch on? So we've talked about like the size of those samples and how offering full-size ones can actually be more profitable for companies,
Right.
even if it seems kind of counterintuitive.
Mhm.
What other factors did this research touch on?
But there's one more important aspect we should discuss.
Okay.
This research primarily focuses on what are called substitutable products.
Okay.
So think coffee shampoo or headphones.
Mm-hmm.
You're choosing one option and leaving the others behind.
Right.
But what about complementary products?
Okay.
Things that are designed to work together.
That's an interesting angle.
Yeah.
So instead of picking your favorite, you're evaluating how the products function as a set,
Right.
like a makeup sample box
Right.
with foundation, blush, and eyeshadow.
Exactly. And that raises a whole new set of questions.
Yeah.
Would those pricing strategies we talked about still apply?
Right.
Would the acceleration effect still be a concern if customers are ultimately purchasing multiple complementary items?
Yeah.
It really challenges some of the assumptions we've discussed so far.
It makes you wonder how the dynamics would shift for companies selling these types of products.
Oh, no.
Would a future credit strategy still be as effective if customers are likely to buy several full-size items after trying the sample box?
It's a fascinating area for further exploration.
Yeah.
This research lays a great foundation for understanding sample box economics.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely opens up new avenues for investigation when you start considering complementary products.
For sure.
It's something to keep in mind as you encounter different sample boxes in the wild.
I'm definitely going to be looking at those boxes with a more critical eye now.
Yeah.
This whole deep dive has really made me think about consumer behavior and business strategy in a whole new way.
It's really interesting stuff.
So to wrap things up, what are the key takeaways our listeners should keep in mind, whether they're browsing for sample boxes or thinking about incorporating them into their own business?
Well, for shoppers, sample boxes can be a fantastic way to reduce the uncertainty that comes with those experience goods.
Right.
But be mindful of the factors we've discussed. The size of the samples, the number of variations, and that all-important future credit.
Right.
Those can make a big difference in whether a box is truly a good value for you.
Totally. And for businesses, it's crucial to remember that sample boxes are a strategic tool,
Right.
not just a marketing gimmick. Think carefully about your pricing strategy, the size of your samples,
Yeah.
and whether a future credit aligns with your overall business goals.
Absolutely.
And don't be afraid to get creative.
As with any business decision, it's all about finding that sweet spot that benefits both you and your customer.
Totally.
And remember, the world of consumer behavior is always changing. So stay curious, stay adaptable, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to come up with the next big innovation in sample box economics.
Well said. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, listeners. We'll be back next time with another fascinating exploration of the world around us. Until then, happy sampling.